A single mom was offered $1 million for one night by a billionaire, but her response changed everything. But before we dive in, leave a comment and let us know where you're watching from today. And if this story inspires you, hit that subscribe button for more powerful stories just like this one. The diner was nearly empty, save for the usual late-night crowd: college kids, long-haul truckers, and a few regulars nursing coffee like it was gold. Her feet ached, her back protested, but her smile never faltered. Sienna Harper, 29, single mom of a 6-year-old boy named Theo, wiped down the counter in rhythmic sweeps. That night, a man in an expensive charcoal coat sat in a booth by the window. He didn't order anything, just sat there staring at her like she was a puzzle piece he couldn't place. Finally, she approached. "Can I get you anything?" she asked. Polite, but guarded, he tilted his head. "What's your name?" Sienna blinked. Sienna, he repeated, tasting the name. "That's beautiful. So, coffee," she gave, a tired half smile. "Thanks." The man leaned forward, sliding a thick envelope across the table. "No," he said. "I want to make you an offer." She frowned. "What kind of offer?" $1 million, he said. She froze. "One night," he added. "No strings. No demands. Just your company." Silence. Her mind raced. Bills, rent, Theo's asthma medication, her broken-down car. $1 million could change everything. And yet, she looked him in the eyes. He didn't flinch. Not arrogant, not desperate, just cold. "Who are you?" she asked. "Grayson Vorse," he said. "CEO of Vorse Holdings." She blinked. Everyone knew that name. Billionaire investor, ruthless, brilliant, divorced, scandal-prone, and now offering her $1 million. She looked down at the envelope, then back at him. "I'll think about it," she said calmly, and walked away. Back in the kitchen, her co-worker Maria whispered, "Are you crazy? That's a fortune." Sienna shook her head. "Yeah, but so is peace of mind." What Grayson didn't know: real, signed, immediate withdrawal. Sienna had already lived through one man trying to own her life. "Meet me at the Elon Hotel, 8 p.m. tomorrow, if interested." And she wouldn't make that mistake twice. Sienna didn't sleep that night. She sat on her couch watching Theo snore beside her, clutching a stuffed lion with worn seams. Her hands hovered over the envelope. She opened it. Inside, a check, but also a note. No judgments, just curiosity. Sienna stared at it. A test, a trap, a transaction. Instead, you tried to buy a moment. By morning, she'd made up her mind. She showed up the next evening, not in heels, not in anything glamorous, just jeans, a blouse, and quiet determination. The concierge ushered her to the penthouse. Grayson stood by the window, skyline behind him, glass of wine in hand. "I didn't think you'd come," he said. "I'm not here for what you think," she replied. "A fighter, a survivor, and your money, it solves problems, but it doesn't buy dignity." She'd placed the check on the coffee table. "You could have offered a job, a scholarship, a donation." Grayson raised an eyebrow. "That's not an insult," she added. "It's just sad." He stared at her. "No one's ever said that to me," he admitted. "I'm not no one," Sienna said softly. "I'm someone, a mother." Grayson studied her for once. Unreadable. "I was testing you," he said, "on an IT pitch deck, a foundation, the Vorse Fund for Unseen Potential, a mentorship and grant program for single parents, survivors, and low-income women with startup ideas. Listen, understand, I needed to meet someone who didn't already want something from me." She asked. "I've already backed over 40 women." In silence. "How you gave your free shift meal to that teen in the booth. You think no one notices?" "I noticed. I wanted to know if someone like you would pass the hardest test of all." He hesitated. "Whether people are still good." "Then you need better tests," she said, turning to leave. "Wait," he said. She paused. "I want to show you something." He handed her a tablet. "I was going to launch it in 6 months," he said. "Which is?" she asked. "Integrity. When no one's watching." Sienna said nothing. He continued. "And I wasn't offering you $1 million for a night, not like that. I meant one night to talk, and I'd like to learn how to lead the way you do, quietly, kindly, and without a price tag." Sienna narrowed her eyes. "Why me?" "Because I saw how you spoke to your co-workers." 3 weeks later, Sienna found herself on stage at the inaugural Unseen Potential Gala, the same kind of event she once cleaned tables at. Only now, she was the keynote speaker. Her story had gone viral after Grayson posted a cryptic message on LinkedIn. "Sometimes, the best investment isn't an idea. It's a person. Thank you, Sienna Harper, for reminding me." The checkup. She returned it, but Grayson insisted she accept a no-strings grant, instead $50,000 to fund her dream. Opening a community cafe that hired single moms and funded parenting classes. She called it the Lion's Den, named after Theo's favorite toy. Business boomed. Mothers found jobs. Teen moms got trained. The local newspaper ran a story titled, "From Waitress to Warrior, the woman who turned down $1 million and gained a legacy." But the real twist: 2 months after the gala, Sienna received a package. Inside, a letter In Grayson's handwriting, "I've stepped down as COO. I'm starting over." From the ground below it, his number, a smiley face, and a note, "P.S. I make great coffee, and I'm not too proud to mop floors." Sienna laughed. The billionaire who tried to buy her might have just become her student, and this time, she was the one writing the rules. If this story touched you, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. The next Monday morning, the bell above the lion's den chimed. Sienna looked up from the registrand and nearly dropped her coffee mug. There he was, Grayson Voss, in an apron, carrying a box of fresh croissants, wearing sneakers, reporting for duty, he said with an almost nervous smile. Customers glanced over. Some recognized him. Others just stared at the strange contrast of billionaire tech mogul behind the counter of a small cafe run by a single mom. "You're serious?" Sienna asked, narrowing her eyes. "I told you I make good coffee," he said, stepping behind the counter. "And I take direction well. Try me." She crossed her arms. "All right, first task, mop the floor." Without hesitation, he grabbed them up and did it thoroughly. No jokes, no eye rolls, just quiet effort. By the end of the shift, Grayson had taken out the trash, wiped tables, and helped two overwhelmed toddlers find their crayons again. "You're not too bad," Sienna muttered, handing him a soda. "High praise," he teased, collapsing onto a crate outside. They sat in silence for a moment. Then he looked at her seriously. "Why this cafe? Because I know what it's like to feel alone, to feel invisible. And if I can give just one mom a moment of dignity, a paycheck, a safe space, then all my struggles were worth it." Sienna's gaze softened. Grayson nodded slowly. "I used to build companies, but I think you're building people." He wasn't flirting. He meant it. And for the first time, Sienna didn't feel like she had to defend herself or prove anything. She just smiled. 2 weeks passed. Grayson became part of the cafe team unofficially. He restocked napkins, ran inventory, and taught the kids in the cafe's after-school corner how to play chess. One afternoon, while taking out the trash, he returned with a pale face. Paparazzi holding cameras. One even had a mic. "Sienna," he said, "you might want to see this." She followed him outside. "Is it true you're dating Grayson Voss?" Across the street, 3 suited men were waiting beside a black SUV. News vans were pulling up. "What is this?" she muttered. One of the men stepped forward. "Sienna Harper." She froze. Another reporter shouted, "Did he pay you to stay quiet? Are you running a business with stolen tech money?" It spiraled quickly. Grayson stepped forward to shield her. "Back off. She doesn't owe you anything." But by then, the damage was done. The cafe's social media exploded. Some praised her again. Others accused her of using her sob story to manipulate a billionaire. Within 24 hours, several corporate sponsors pulled funding. A few customers canceled orders. Her staff began to worry. "Is this place going under?" Maria asked in a whisper. Sienna didn't sleep that night, but this time, not from stress, from fury. "Where are you going?" She looked up at the moon and said quietly, "I didn't come this far to be drowned by someone else's version of my story." The next morning, Sienna walked into the cafe wearing a blazer. She looked like a storm in heels. Grayson blinked. To fix what they tried to ruin. She held a press conference at the park with no PR firm. What came after wasn't part of a scheme. It was humanity. 2 broken people who dared to be better. No fancy stage, just her and a mic. Dozens showed up. "I'm Sienna Harper," she began. "And yes, I was offered $1 million for one night by Grayson Voss. I built it because I once cried in a grocery aisle over $6 worth of formula." Gasps. Phones lifted. "But I turned it down. Not because I don't need money, but because I refuse to sell my worth." She continued. She paused. "I didn't build this cafe to go viral." Then she smiled. "But I also know this. You can't cancel what you didn't create." The applause was thunderous. She even got a call from the city council about creating a workforce reintegration program. Later that night, she returned to the lion's den to find donations pouring in. New volunteers. Even a handwritten note from a woman in New Mexico. "You gave me courage to start my own bakery. Keep going, Sienna." She held the letter tight, then looked over at Grayson, who was silently restocking shelves again. "Still want to intern?" she asked. "Depends," he said with a grin. "Do I get benefits?" "You get to mop." She smirked. A month passed. The cafe was booming. Sienna had secured a grant to open a second location, but something strange kept happening. Every time she'd pass the community donation box, it was full, even when she hadn't seen anyone donate. Receipts, cash checks, signed anonymous. One day Thea found an envelope tucked in his toy bin. Inside, $10,000 and a note. "For the mom who never gave up. Someone who believes in you." Sienna confronted Grayson. "Was this you?" He shook his head. "Not this time. What if we turn it into a women's tech incubator? You run the social end, I'll teach business. We mentor 10 women a year." Confused, she began quietly checking camera logs, staff schedules, until finally, she caught it. One of her own employees, Mr. Ivan, the elderly dishwasher, was the mystery donor. She pulled him aside. "Ivan," she said. He shrugged. "I've been working 3 jobs for 20 years. Saved every penny. Never had a family. Until now. Tears filled her eyes. But this is your retirement, she whispered. He nodded. And it's finally worth something. Later that week, Grayson approached her with a folded blueprint. I bought the lot across the street, he said. Sienna stared at him. You're serious? He nodded. I've built enough empires. I want to build impact now. She didn't say yes immediately. She walked around the block, thought, prayed, watched Theo sleep. Then returned the next morning and said, let's do it, but we build it in both our names. Grayson smiled. Deal. And just like that, what began as a $1 million proposition became the foundation of something far more powerful.